Minnesota Timberwolves actually were incredibly active this weekend. They re-signed Julius Randle and Naz Reid. The Naz Reid deal is 5/125. The Julius Randle deal is, I believe, 300.
300, right? Yeah. 300.
So the Timberwolves are basically running this back. They're essentially running it back with who they have, minus Nickeil Alexander-Walker, adding in 2 center draft picks and Jan Berenjay and Rocco Zikarsky. I believe that Naz Reid and Julius Randle both got player options, right?
Yep.
So you've now opened up a 2-year window here with these dudes. If I'm Minnesota, I'm totally good with this. And here's the thing that I think people are kind of underrating a little bit, right? If I was Minnesota, if I was Houston, and Houston already upgraded big with the Kevin Durant deal, obviously, but if I was Denver, especially Denver, because Denver came very close to beating full strength Oklahoma City as it is.
Yeah.
I'm probably good just running this back because I don't know how much better I'm getting by adding variance and different things to the equation, when the reality might be that the variance gods might just hit and Jalen Williams is out for the playoffs next year or something, or Chet Holmgren's out for the playoffs next year. And Oklahoma City is just a fundamentally different team at that point. And you're in a good spot. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go out and explore everything that's out on the market. You should. I just also pretty strongly believe that upgrade better be pretty aggressive, or it better be a situation that fits and makes it super easy to make work. Otherwise, it's probably not going to help you as much as you want it to.
Yeah, I think I don't disagree with that. That's fair. Because it's always, sometimes we look at okay, you're paying this guy that's too much. And it's well, what is the replacement, right? Okay, if you don't give player X this money or whatever, well, then what are you going to have to do to replace that player? What is that money going to look like? Or what does that replacement player look like? I think just process wise, I'm struggling to wrap my head around, what is that? $86 million next year to my front court between those 3 guys. I'm struggling a little bit with that, but they just have to be awesome. Those 3 guys just have to be awesome playing together. And then of course, I think the thing that's hardest for me is this most likely thing, Nah is probably going to be gone. But we've talked about that is eventually when you get expensive, you have to trust your draft picks or minimum signings or whatever. You have to win on the margins. And so now we're going to find out if Minnesota won on the margins. Is Jalen Clark a find for them? Is Terrence Shannon Jr. a find for them? Not a one-to-one replacement, but is trading up into the lottery 2 drafts ago and drafting Rob Dillingham gonna pay off? And so ultimately it comes down to those things as well. And eventually you got to just lean into them, because that's why you did them, was to set you up for situations like this, where you had to prioritize the front court and go youth and draft picks and that in the back court, because you can't afford all of it.
Yeah. So I agree that they do still, they need some help across the backcourt, but I wonder if they think that they have it internally. I wonder if they think that Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon Jr., and Jalen Clark, if I was them. So here's the real reason why I would have done exactly what they're doing right now, right? And re-signed the front court as opposed to Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Sure.
I think Jalen Clark's really good.
Sure.
It's kind of what I believe.
Yeah.
I think Jalen Clark is going to be a real replacement for Nickeil Alexander-Walker next year. He might be, I don't know, 80%, 85% of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but I think that's probably about what it's going to be based off of what I've seen from Jalen Clark at this point.
I mean,
that dude can go, man.
There's a chance he's better defensively, right? A real chance he's better defensively.
Offensively, I think not even really all that close.
Agree.
I think that defensively, he might be better.
He's just a little more physical than Naz is, and that may give him a chance to hold up a little bit. Like, he just built a little bit strong. Like, I love Naz. Trust me, I have a video breakdown. People can go watch it. Yes. I rave about it. But like, he's going to give up a little bit because he's a little slighter of frame, and that changes how many guys you can match up with and holding your line and stuff we talk about all the time. Not a huge thing, but I agree. I think Clark could be better defensively. I would say there's not a great chance he's anywhere close to what Naz was offensively, at least next season.
Yes, I would agree. But you have Rob Dillingham coming in. You have Terrence Shannon coming in. Like, you've made your 3 draft picks.
Yep.
That seem to have worked out, right? Like, not including Josh Minot, Leonard Miller, my dear sweet baby boy. That, you know, those guys, like, it seems like those two are still trying to figure things out a little bit more. But Jalen Clark looks like he can go.
Yeah.
Rob Dillingham, I'm not a huge fan of Rob Dillingham, but they clearly are big fans of Rob Dillingham. And they clearly believe in Rob Dillingham in some way, shape, or form, which is ultimately what matters, right?
Yeah.
So Rob Dillingham. And you have Terrence Shannon Jr., who played real minutes in the playoffs at times this year and was like a problem in some respects and was super impactful in other respects, right? Like, it was real hit or miss. So what do? Like, I think that you trust in those 3 guys, 2 of which have shown you something at least. And then Rob Dillingham is the guy you've invested the most in, over in trusting one of those guys to step into Naz steps, over signing Naz and letting one of those 2 walk. Sure. I think that this is the way that you had to do it, in all honesty.
I think you're probably right. The Naz number, I think these 5-year deals are what is like jumping, like, there's a shock value in a 5-year deal for a non-max.
You're struggling with it. Yeah.
I am. I don't know why. Like, I need to sit on the combine tomorrow and figure it out. Like, I need to really sit there. I have a lot of time to think on that thing. And just really, I'm sure my dad would love that a multi-$1,000 piece of equipment is being driven by somebody thinking about the justification of 5 years to Naz Reid and Jabari Smith Jr. He's going to love that. Good thing he doesn't listen to the podcast. I don't know why. It just, there's a little bit of shock value there. But here's the thing. I look at each year. I don't complain about the Malik Monk contract, Sam. So why am I going to complain about the Naz Reid? I realize they're different players, but the role for the team is somewhat similar in terms of... It's
about right in terms of the percentage of cap as well.
Correct. And I don't yell about Monk. I think Monk is awesome and on a good deal. So how can I then yell about a Naz Reid contract that may ultimately and eventually see him in the starting lineup, like more than a 6th man for his team? Yeah. Because Randle's deal is only 3 years. So those final 2 years, Naz has a real opportunity to become the starting 4, or maybe even before that, if you trade Julius Randle at some point or something like that. So I think ultimately the process is probably right, because, like, do you have more faith in Josh Minot, Leonard Miller, Luka Garza, or whatever to replace Naz Reid?
Baron J is a rookie.
Baron J, Zakarski, obviously not going to be that to replace one of those guys. Or, as we've outlined, do you believe in Jalen Clark, Terrence Shannon Jr., Rob Dillingham?
Yeah, I think they're making the right choice here at the end of the day, because I think that this team should be contending right now. Like, that's my read, is like, they are close enough to where they should be contending and should be doing this. Like, with Anthony Edwards, maybe, like, here's the other thing. Anthony Edwards, still young enough to take a leap.
Sure.
Like, still very much in the cards that he could get much better at basketball. Like, imagine if he comes in this year and he's like, oh shit, I know how to play slow and make passing reads now. Like, at some point, he's either going to do that or he's not going to do it. But when he does it, if he does it, I guess, he's a top 3 player in the league, probably, if he does that.
And Sam, we're talking about a team.
He's genuinely an MVP candidate if he figures out how to, like, make passing reads off of different help defense situations as he drives.
And I would also like, I always bring this, like, I want a little bit more consistent defensively as well. And I think that would catapult him into the echelon we're talking about. And he's already an all NBA player. This team has gone to back-to-back Western Conference finals. Like, back-to-back. So again, I've said this about the Rockets when they got the 2 seed last year. We cannot say that the Western Conference is loaded and then undermine a team that has gone to back-to-back Western Conference finals. And then this year lost to the eventual champions. We can't undermine that and not treat them like real contenders. Those two things can't happen. We can't say it's loaded and then discredit the team that's gone to the Western Conference final 2 years in a row, back-to-back, and has all of the same, well, actually it's different pieces, but in this scenario would be then now running it back with the same group. Here's the other thing. You know what we always do with the Knicks? What caveat do we always give the Knicks, Sam? That trade happened in October and they didn't have all offseason to figure it out.
Totally.
We haven't said it enough about Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Like, it's the same idea for them. That trade happened the same day for them that it did for the Knicks.
100%. It's 100% right. They are now, just in terms of where they sit away from the cap and the aprons and everything, they're way over the cap, obviously, but they are 12 million away from the second apron at this point. They do have the 4.2 million from Baron J that will cut into that a little bit. So they're basically looking at minimums in like maybe some of the non-taxpayer MLE. I would guess that they probably bring in a perimeter player of some repute at some point. I've always thought that one of the Joneses like makes sense to me, be it Tyus Jones, Trey Jones, something like that. Just get another guy to like run the offense maybe. But I will say that maybe somebody with a little bit more size, like a DeLon Wright or something, could be helpful. But like, that's more what you're looking at here at this point with the Wolves. They've kind of made their bed here, I think. With we're going down swinging with Ant, with Gobert, with Randall, with Jaden, with Naz, with Dante, the kids like Dillingham, Shannon, and Clark. We'll see what Leonard Miller is. Maybe you bring back Josh Minot, like, and we kind of let it rock, right?
Yeah, right would track for me just because, like, the defensive aspect of it. You know what I mean? Like, you have Conley, you have Dillingham, like, actually, like, Conley knock down shots, be the vet leader, set the table. Dillingham come in, be a nuclear scorer. Okay, we actually just need somebody to come in and guard. Like, we need the defensive one. DeLon Wright kind of makes sense there for me in terms of giving you like a trio of smaller guards that give you a little bit something different depending on the situation.
Yeah, and just to be clear, people in the comments are saying this. They didn't pick up the options on Minot or Luka Garza. That does not mean that they can't like re-sign those players. They absolutely can re-sign them. They still hold their bird rights if they want to. It's just that you do this right now to open up some flexibility. Both of those guys are like questionable as to whether or not they're real NBA players. So you want the flexibility here moving forward to be able to see, okay, is there something that we can do that like really makes this like functionally work here?